Not everyone is going to find the same things funny. That's just a fact of life. Some people think fart jokes are the mountain peak of comedy, while others enjoy a more snarky, sarcastic style of humor. We're not going to tell you how to enjoy your comedy, though. Instead, we're just going to bring up a few comedies that apparently no one really liked. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 comedies that bombed hard with audiences. Number 1, Jack and Jill. It may not seem like it now, but Adam Sandler was a huge box office draw from the late 90s, pretty much up until the late aughts, where some of that star power was fading. It didn't help that despite being lowbrow comedies, they are quite expensive due to his stacked cast and his own cool $20 million paycheck per film. 2011's universally panned film Jack and Jill cost $80 million. Needless to say, it lost money. Sandler's films have never been known to be critical darlings, but even audiences who were in favor of Sandler recognized Jack and Jill was a dud. Even longtime Sandler fans, like me, skipped this theatrically, and yes, I was disappointed when I eventually caught it. Not that it looked good or I had high expectations for it or anything. Jack and Jill sees Sandler playing both titular roles, Jack Statelstein and his obnoxious twin sister Jill. Jack is straight-laced and successful, while Jill is overbearing and annoying. Sandler actually plays her to the point where she's practically insufferable, which hurts both the heart and the message behind the film. Beyond that, Jack and Jill lays on the juvenile humor thick, and even the talented cast, including Al Pacino, can't save this certified stinker. But you can stream it on Disney+, Google Play, Prime, or Fandango. Number 2, Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd. This one seems like a no-brainer because that's exactly what it is. Summer of 2003's Dumb and Dumberer When Harry Met Lloyd was as no-brained as it gets. It shouldn't come as a shock to anyone that this one bombed hard with critics and audiences alike, and ultimately killed the franchise. Even the 2014 sequel that saw Carrie, Daniels, and the Farley brothers return couldn't resuscitate it. 1994's irreverent comedy classic Dumb and Dumber from comedy duo the Farley brothers was a hit in the 90s with audiences and critics. It was also a perfect vehicle for comedy genius Jim Carrey, as well as Emmy winner Jeff Daniels, who was typically a more serious dramatic actor. But as they say, comedy is a serious business. Dumb and Dumberer was a prequel where we see Harry and Lloyd in high school as they meet for the first time. It was almost all gross out, lowbrow, cringe humor. Eric Christian Olsen as Lloyd and Derek Richardson as Harry wasn't a bad casting, but everything about the film is sloppy and inorganic. To be honest, I'm being kinder to Dumb and Dumberer than audiences did. The audience score is a dismal 23%, and critics an even worse rate at 10%. However, you can stream this film on Google Play, Prime, or Fandango. Number 3, Ghostbusters. Let's face it, a majority of the divisiveness for the 2016 all-female Ghostbusters film boiled down to sexism. I wish people were as critical of Ghostbusters 2 as they were of the female Ghostbusters. I'm not saying the film is perfect, but damn, such unnecessary loathing. This is actually the only film on this list that is warmly received by critics, with an admirable 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, making it the best reviewed of any Ghostbusters sequel. Unfortunately, sometimes the wrong guy wins, whether it's in the 2024 election or audiences with 2016's Ghostbusters. This film follows a team of women who become Ghostbusters in their attempt to prove that the paranormal is real. The ensemble includes physical comedy queen and Oscar nominee Melissa McCarthy, Emmy Award-winning actress Kate McKinnon, as well as fellow acclaimed SNL alums Kristen Wiig and Leslie Jones. 2016's Ghostbusters is directed by one of the cult classic sitcoms Freaks and Geeks creators, Paul Feig, who also directed critically praised hits like the Oscar-nominated Bridesmaids, as well as 2015's Spy. The biggest downside to the film is some of its inherent cheap aesthetic. Although some of that was by design to match some of the simpler 80s cinematography of the original, as well as give the film an overall lighter comedic feel. Some of the more reasonable detractors of 2016's Ghostbusters have complained it was a comedy first and light on the horror elements, while the originals were a horror comedy. However, you can catch it on Starz, Philo, Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Number 4, Disaster Movie. This really could have gone to any of Aaron Seltzer or Jason Friedberg aught film parodies. But I'll give this to 2008's disastrous Disaster Movie. The film is a parody. I shouldn't even use that term because it degrades the actual literary word. It's an unfunny, pointless slapdish of references to trailers of disaster movies and other films. Seltzer and Friedberg were writers for the Wayans brothers' original smash hit Scary Movie, and that fact was actually the centerpiece for the marketing of their first of the movie series, Date Movie, in 2006. I did see that one in theaters because I found the whole from 2 of the 6 writers of Scary Movie take self-depreciating and funny. But that's all the wit that they've since been able to muster from their despicable franchise. By the time 2008's Disaster Movie came out, audiences were sick of how bad the films that Friedberg and Seltzer were making. Audiences and critics alike actually felt that they had destroyed the parody genre itself. However, they were cheaply made modest box office successes, which is why Friedberg and Seltzer made 5 of these awful spoofs from 2006 to 2010 alone. However, you can witness the disaster over on Prime, Fandango, Freevee, Fubo, the CW, or Google Play. Number 5, Son of Mask. After Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey vowed never to do a sequel, and he kept that promise for nearly 20 years, reprising his role as Lloyd Christmas in 2014's Dumb and Dumber 2. He also reprised his role as the scene-stealing Dr. Robotnik multiple times in Paramount's hit film adaptations of Sega's iconic video game franchise, Sonic the Hedgehog. 2005's follow-up to 1994's star vehicle for Carrey, The Mask, was titled Son of Mask. The film stars Jamie Kennedy, who plays the popular Randy Meeks in the acclaimed smash slasher series Scream. Kennedy does not play Stanley Ipkiss's son, or have any relationship to Carrey's character from the original. Instead, he plays an aspiring animator and husband, Tim Avery. In the story, Tim gets a hold of the enchanted mask from the original, retrieved by his dog, Otis. After engaging in coitus with his wife, Tanya, while wearing the mask, a child is conceived. The baby is born with some of the powers of the mask. Yes, you heard that right. And this is supposed to be a family film? Let's just say audiences, not just critics, really weren't fans of the film. For one thing, it wasted talents, especially that of Alan Cumming, who played the antagonist Loki. Son of Mask also lacks heart, and the physical comedy genius Carrey brought. The script was weak, and the CGI looks genuinely worse than its predecessor, which the film is over a decade older than it. Son of Mask currently has a 2.3 out of 10 on IMDb, and a 16% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. But don't take our word for it. Watch it over on Fandango, Prime, or Google Play. Number 6, Hangover 3. The original Hangover was a tightly scripted film with an exceptional cast that made household names of the dynamic trio of comedic actors, Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, and Zach Galifianakis, with Galifianakis in his breakout role. The film designated them the Wolfpack back in 2009. The Hangover was a smash hit, becoming the biggest R-rated comedy of all time. The premise was simple. 4 friends go out on a bender in Vegas and wake up not knowing what happened. They have to piece together the events of the previous night through various clues in order to find their missing friend. Critics enjoyed The Hangover and audiences loved it. The anticipation for the return of the Wolfpack for The Hangover Part II in 2011 was high, seen on many top 20 most anticipated lists, including IMDb's, Forbes, and Screen Rant's. Despite Part 2 grossing more than the original worldwide, thanks to expanded international interest, people felt it was narratively a by-the-numbers copy of the original. Most viewers also thought it wasn't as clever, funny, or enjoyable as the first one. Now cut to 2013, and the final installment of the Hangover trilogy is set for release. The Hangover 3 was released on Memorial Day weekend with the least favorable reviews in the franchise, along with the lowest opening box office numbers. Unfortunately, its budget was also the highest in the franchise, costing the WB just over $100 million for its production alone. By the end of Part 3's theatrical run, it had ultimately eked out a modest profit, but was still the lowest grossing film in the franchise by over $100 million. Audiences were unfortunately soured by the unfunny film and disappointed by it even more so as a conclusion. Part of the problem is the film ditched the whole formula of the Wolfpack waking up with a hangover and trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together as to what happened. Instead, Part 3 saw the Wolfpack trying to find one of its members who was kidnapped. No hangover involved. I personally think The Hangover 3 functions better as a crime thriller because audiences, critics, and I are pretty much unanimous that it was not landing the comedy anymore. But you can check it out anyway on Prime, Fandango, or Google Play. Number 7, Gigli. 2003's romantic comedy Gigli, starring the hottest couple at the time, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, had set sights on becoming the hottest blockbuster that summer. Director Martin Brest, who had delivered smash hit comedy led by SNL alum Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop, helmed and co-produced the hopeful would-be hit. Boy, were the studios in for a surprise as the movie bombed hard in the box office and was critically maligned. Gigli was so bad, actually, it was considered not only one of the worst films of the year, but of all time. The film follows Larry Gigli, played by Affleck, who's a low-level mobster sent to kidnap the mentally disabled brother of a federal prosecutor. Gigli's boss also sends in another mobster, Ricky, played by Lopez, with her own separate orders. Chemistry between the leads couldn't save this film because everything else is abysmal. The acting is wooden, the dialogue stinks, it's clunky and thoroughly bland looking. Justin Bartha tries his best with the material, but as he's playing someone with a severe mental disability, even his performance is cringe and borderline offensive. But if you're morbidly curious about the film that kneecapped Ben Affleck's career, you can stream it on Google Play, Fandango, or Prime. Number 8, Grease 2. 1982's awful follow-up to the monumentally successful film adaptation of Broadway's Grease, Grease 2, I'm sad to say that I've seen more than once. I'll admit that Michelle Pfeiffer did the best she could, and you could see why she would be a star. Plus, there's a couple of songs I do enjoy. One of them because it's really dumb. Reproduction, the class is singing about planet reproduction with hella innuendos. The other is called Cool Rider, sung by Michelle Pfeiffer, which had the making of being a great 80s pop rock hit. The melodic rock and roll soliloquy certainly revealed the inherent shallowness of her character, Stephanie. But man, what a banger. Grease 2 follows Stephanie, a senior at Rydell High and head of the Pink Ladies, after she dumps her chauvinistic T-Bird boyfriend, Johnny. Stephanie instead pursues British foreign exchange student and cousin of Sandy's, Olivia Newton-John's character in the first one, Michael Carrington. Grease 2 establishes some new lore in which Pink Ladies only date T-Birds, which is inherently a lazy way to generate conflict but contradicts what we understand about the original. Also, the T-Birds in the original were rebels, pranksters, not mean-spirited bullies. Those are just some of the many reasons even devotees of the original film just couldn't get into Grease 2. It didn't just bomb with audiences and critics, but also at the box office as it grossed a dismal $15 million on a nearly $12 million budget. This wouldn't have even been that awful, but the original made more than 10 times that during its original release with half the budget. So it was quite a fall from grace. Grease 2's ensemble is feeble. Its music is lackluster, and it is just too derivative. But if you're curious, you can watch it on Google Play, Prime, or Fandango. Number 9, The Love Guru. Improv master and SNL alum Mike Myers had really burnt out his star power, as well as his Austin Powers goodwill by the end of the aughts. What really brought an end to Mike Myers' kooky characters being brought to the big screen was his film, The Love Guru. People were already on the fence after his tenure as Cat in the Hat, where he essentially played the titular character as a rendition of Fat Bastard in a catsuit. For me, I enjoyed it more than I should have, as I'm a pretty big Austin Powers fan. It was supposed to be for kids, though. The Love Guru kinda lost me on Mr. Myers. I didn't pay to see it on the silver screen, as it ultimately looked like an undercooked bit turned into a full-blown movie. After I eventually saw The Love Guru, I was on the nose with my assessment. Most of the jokes and bits are lazy and don't even land. Only to add salt to the wounds, many people felt The Love Guru was racially insensitive. It was a critical and commercial failure to boot. One silver lining is it led Mike Myers to dabble in more serious-ish roles in Oscar-caliber films. Otherwise, The Love Guru is a thinly scripted film that relies too much on juvenile humor and stereotypes that didn't sit well with audiences, even in 2008. The film revolves around Pitka, played by Myers, acting as an Indian love guru, the second best behind Deepak Chopra, with dreams of becoming number one. Unfortunately, it is far from number. The Love Guru won Razzie for the year's worst picture, but don't let that stop you from streaming it on Pluto, Google Play, Fandango, or Prime. Number 10, The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Star vehicle for Eddie Murphy, 2002's The Adventures of Pluto Nash is arguably one of the most infamous bombs, critically and commercially, for any actor. Unfortunately for the talented comedian, his career never really recovered from this. With his impressive career already spanning over 20 years at this point, he could have comfortably retired and been proud of what he'd accomplished. Luckily, the uber-popular DreamWorks animated franchise Shrek was still a lifeline, especially with Shrek 2 in 2004 grossing $929 million worldwide, making it the #1 film of the year. But I digress. I was just looking for an excuse to talk about Shrek. The Adventures of Pluto Nash was a sci-fi comedy that didn't sit well with audiences. For starters, Eddie Murphy phoned it in, and the script was genuinely unfunny, uneven, and unfocused. The whole film was reminiscent of the cheap B sci-fi of yesteryear, but lacking the campy charm, as this film also had a $100 million budget and solid cast. It follows a club owner who owns a club on the moon. Pluto Nash, played by Murphy, is tangled up with the lunar mob. Not as cool as they sound. After he declined selling them his club. Even the director, Ron Underwood, expressed deep regrets about the film. His words suggest something was going on behind the scenes. If anyone has delved into this, sound off in the comments. Underwood is responsible for hits like City Slickers and Tremors, after all. So catch this out of the world, see what I did there? Bomb on Tubi, Plex, Prime, Google Play, or Fandango. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.